William Shakespeare was an English poet and playwright in the 1500s. His plays are often funny, sad, and contain sexual innuendos. The Comedy of Errors, an analysis of one of William Shakespeare's best-known comedies told by Jake Shea and Reid. Let's hear a little bit about the author. William Shakespeare was born on approximately April 23, 1564, in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. This town is approximately 100 miles from London. Shakespeare's father, John, sold leather to make a living, and his mother, Mary, was an heiress to wealth and land. William had 2 older sisters and 3 younger brothers. His family was well off as a result of his father's political positions. However, the family wealth began to decline when William was around 10 years old. It is believed that William went to the local school called the King's New School, where he learned reading and writing. He married Anne Hathaway in 1582 when he was 18 and she was 26. They had twins named Hamnet and Judith, and also another daughter named Susanna. Unfortunately, Hamnet passed away at the age of 11. Shakespeare had become a playwright and actor by 1592, and he joined Lord Chamberlain's Men, a prestigious acting company. Soon, he was well established in the theatrical world, and by the end of his life, he had written 37 plays and 154 sonnets. Some of his more famous works include Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, The Tempest, and our play, The Comedy of Errors. He and a few of his business partners even built their own theater on the Thames River, and it was called The Globe. This shows us the business and entrepreneur side of Shakespeare. It is also believed that he was a large investor in land, which made him enough money to put all of his focus on his plays. William Shakespeare died on his 52nd birthday in his hometown. Over a century after his death, scholars began to question the origin of his plays. The skeptics did not believe that he could write such poetic plays given his humble education. However, there were other great authors from modest beginnings during this time, and Shakespeare remains the official author of his own plays to this day. The Comedy of Errors was written in 1594 and was the 9th play released by Shakespeare. It is generally regarded by critics to be a good but not great play from Shakespeare. It is Shakespeare's shortest play, checking in at 1,787 lines. The average Elizabethan England play from that period of time would have been about 3,000 lines, for reference. To understand the Comedy of Errors, you must first know the basics behind some of the main characters and where the play takes place. Antipholus of Syracuse is twins with Antipholus of Ephesus. They are both sons of a merchant named Aegeon. Dromio of Syracuse is the servant to Antipholus of Syracuse. He also has a twin brother who is named Dromio of Ephesus. They both provide comic relief throughout the story. Antipholus of Ephesus, as you already know, is the twin brother of Antipholus of Syracuse, and he is married to Adriana. A character called a courtesan enters later in the scene, and it is important to know that this would be what those in Shakespeare's times would call a prostitute. The play takes place in Ephesus, which is a town on the western side of modern-day Turkey. We will be performing Act 4, Scene 3, where Dromio of Syracuse gives Antipholus of Syracuse money that Dromio originally owed to Antipholus of Ephesus. Sounds confusing? Let us give you a bit of a backstory. To begin, the kingdom of Ephesus has declared that they will not allow members of the kingdom of Syracuse in because of recent feuding between the two groups. A man named Aegeon from Syracuse has come to Ephesus in search of his wife and twin children after they were all separated in a shipwreck. Because of the animosity toward Syracusans, the Duke of Ephesus wants to have Aegeon punished. However, he does grant him a little bit of time to come up with money to pay a fine rather than face the death penalty. Long after their separation from their twins, a grown-up Antipholus of Syracuse arrives in Ephesus with his servant, named Dromio of Syracuse. The townspeople see the two of them and think that they are the original twins, Antipholus and Dromio of Ephesus. The two sets of twins are confused many times, the first time being when Antipholus of Ephesus asks Dromio of Syracuse for the money he was lent. Later, the wife of Antipholus of Ephesus, named Adriana, asks Dromio of Ephesus to find her husband. Adriana later encounters the other Dromio and Antipholus, and they deny ever having spoken to her. Adriana is concerned about them and asks them to accompany her home, thinking that they are Antipholus and Dromio that she already knows. At home, Antipholus of Syracuse develops feelings for the other Antipholus' wife's sister. You can see where this will start to get a bit awkward. Dromio of Syracuse is also amazed at the fact that he now has a significant other, who is actually that of Dromio of Ephesus. Meanwhile, Antipholus of Ephesus is purchasing a gold chain necklace for his wife, Adriana. However, later that day, the other Antipholus happens upon the goldsmith named Angelo, and the goldsmith gives him the chain, asking for payment later. Confused, Antipholus of Syracuse takes the necklace that Antipholus of Ephesus had ordered. When the time comes for the goldsmith to be paid, he comes across Antipholus of Ephesus, who denies ever having taken the chain. Angelo is angry and has Antipholus of Ephesus arrested for stealing the necklace that he did not in fact steal. Antipholus sends Dromio to get the money to bail him out. Dromio, however, brings the money to the wrong Antipholus, and we're about to see what happens.
To help keep our characters straight, the Syracusans will be wearing purple shirts and sunglasses, and the courtesan will be wearing a blue shirt and purple hat. Our scene takes place in a public place.
There's not a man I meet but doth salute me, as if I were their well-acquainted friend. And everyone doth call me by my name. Some tender money give to me, some invite me. Some other give me thanks for their kindness. Some offer me commodities to buy. Some, even now, a tailor called me in his shop, and showed me some silks that he had bought for me. And therewithal took measure of my body. Sure, these are but imaginary wiles, and Laplad sorcerers inhabit here.
Master, here's the gold you sent me for. What, have you got the picture of old Adam new apparel?
What gold is this? What Adam dost thou mean?
Not that Adam that kept the paradise, but that Adam that keeps the prison. He that goes in the calf's skin, that was killed for the prodigal. He that came behind you, sir, like an evil angel, and bid you forsake your liberty.
I understand you not.
No, why 'tis a plain case. He that went, like a bass vial in a case of leather. The man, sir, that when gentlemen are tired, gives them a sob and rests them. He, sir, that takes pity on decayed men and gives them suits of durance. He that sets up his rest to do more exploits with his mace than a Morris pike.
What? Thou meanest an officer?
Aye, sir, the sergeant of the band. He that brings any man to answer it that breaks his band. One that thinks a man always going to bed and says, God give you rest.
Well, sir, there rests in your foolery. Is there any ships put forth tonight? May we be gone?
Why, sir, I brought you word an hour since that the bark expedition put forth tonight. And then were you hindered by the sergeant to tarry for the hoy delay. Here are the angels that you sent for to deliver you. Well met, Master Antipholus. I see, sir, you found the goldsmith now. Is that the chain you promised me today?
Satan, avoid! I charge thee, tempt me not.
Master, is this Mistress Satan?
It is the devil!
Nay, she is worse. She is the devil's dam, and here she comes in the habit of a light wench. And thereof comes the wenches say, God damn me. That is much to say, God make me a light wench. It is written they appear to men like angels of light. Light is an effect of fire, and fire will burn. Ergo, light wenches will burn. Come not here, her. Your man and you are marvelous, Mary, sir. Will you go with me? We'll mend our dinner here. Master, if you do, expect spoon meat, or we speak a long spoon.
Why, Dromio?
Mary, he must have a long spoon that must eat with the devil.
Avoid then, fiend. What tell'st thou of me of supping? Thou art, as you all, a sorceress.